moment, we're going to work on the sound on this particular microphone just to make sure that everybody can be heard tonight. Please rise. Please remain standing for the Star-Spangled Banner.
Through the perilous
As we remain standing, it's my pleasure to ask Rabbi Jacob Herber, Rabbi of Congregation Beth Israel, to come forward to deliver the opening prayer.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher krishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Praised are you, God, majesty of all creation, whose commandments add holiness to our lives and obligate us to be engaged in the study of Torah. 8 years or more of deeply intensive, uplifting, enriching, and inspiring Torah and secular studies. Though not always recognizable in the moment, a day school education is a gift we are given by our parents and families, teachers, and a gift from those behind the shadows who make it possible. The gift is to sit and learn and put into practice Torah and secular wisdom and knowledge. The gift is to be nurtured in a learning community that teaches core Jewish values: limud Torah, ahavat mitzvot, gemilut chasadim, tzedakah, ahavat eretz umedinat Israel, derech eretz, to name just a few. And so we ask you, Roeh Israel, Shepherd of Israel, on this night which offers our community and ultimately the world 24 day school graduates who've been enriched by their study of Judaism and secular disciplines, to aid them and us in continuing to claim and reclaim the gift that you give us anew each and every day. That is keneged kulam, equal to all of them, the study of Torah. And let us say, Amen.
Please be seated. Good evening, Erev Tov, and welcome. My name is Brian King, and I'm the head of school at Milwaukee Jewish Day School. And it is my privilege and my honor to stand before you tonight in this beautiful sanctuary to celebrate the culmination of the MJDS experience for these 24 young adults. But none of us would be here tonight without the visionary leadership of our founders. Our founding director, Doris Schneidman. Doris, are you here? Please stand. Come on. This institution in its 30th year is one of Doris's children, and for that we are all very grateful. Also here tonight is longtime teacher and co-director Marge Myers. Marge, could you please stand to be recognized? Almost from the beginning, Marge was here either as a teacher or as an administrator shepherding the school. MJDS thrives due to a strong partnership between the school and its parents. Thank you to our parent volunteers and to the MJDS PTO for all of your hard work. And a special thanks to PTO co-presidents Laura Graupe and Susan Gray for all they've done this year. I'd also like to thank prospectively Joan Kazin and Julie Rosenfeld, who will be taking on the mantle of PTO co-presidents for next year. I'd also like to thank our board of directors and for their stewardship and leadership, Board President Dan Sinekin, who you'll be hearing from, and also in attendance tonight we have our next president-elect, Felicia Miller. Besides the students themselves, no group is more important to MJDS than the staff. These dedicated professionals love your children like their own. They believe in the school and its mission. They change lives every day. Would the staff please rise for a well-deserved recognition? And now I have a few words for you, our graduates. It's always a little bit awkward to try to give these words when they're at my back, but just know that I'm speaking to you. Back when I went to college, Duke University's freshman orientation culminated with a speech by poet and activist Maya Angelou. I was just 4 years older than you are right now. I remember sitting on a hard wooden pew inside Duke's oppressively beautiful Gothic cathedral, anxious, nervous, excited, a bit bewildered. While I certainly don't remember every word, the theme of Dr. Angelou's speech has stuck with me over the years. I want to share it with you because what she said to me 20 years ago is tailor-made for our graduates today. Standing in front of 1,500 relatively privileged young adults, Dr. Angelou was brutally honest. She told us that even though we had worked hard in school and in extracurriculars and in sports, the fact that we were sitting there as freshmen at Duke was thanks to a long list of other people. She told us that we made it to Duke in large part because other people had paved the road for us. What about all my hard work? I had never been so stung, so angry, yet so inspired at the same time. Ultimately, Dr. Angelou's point was simple. We are great beneficiaries of the hard work of those who preceded us in this world. And even though our road has been paved by previous generations, she said, we are not on easy street. We have a responsibility to ourselves, to our parents, and to future generations to keep on paving. I left the speech determined to begin construction. The 24 of you, your road has been paved and adorned with street signs. You have maps, guides, drivers, and a massive network of support to keep you on the right track. Your challenge, and the challenge of your generation, is not just to realize that you have an obligation to keep paving the road for others. It's to struggle to learn how to build when so much has already been built for you. I know you can build because I've witnessed it. Last year, as part of our Voice of the Children program, you were given tools to make the world a better place. But nobody told you exactly how to use those tools. You had to figure it out for yourselves. You had to struggle with it. Here's the best example. After reading A Long Walk to Water by Linda Sue Park, you decided to plan and execute the Walk for Water fundraiser. You were concerned about the women and children in Africa who lack easy access to clean water, and you wanted to act in solidarity with them. You beat the streets and worked the phones to get pledges. You walked 3 to 4 miles around our track carrying 2 one-gallon jugs of water. That's 16 pounds of water. And in one day, you raised over $7,000 to bring clean water to women and children in Africa. You did this so that they don't have to walk miles and miles every day just to get dirty water. See? You paved the road for others. As you move on to high school and beyond, your responsibility to keep paving will only grow. Whether you've been at MJDS for 10 years or just 1, you're ready. You have the tools, you have the confidence and training, you've learned to embody core Jewish values that will guide you along the way. Your challenge, again, is to keep searching for and finding the proper motivation and effort. When you find it, I'm confident that this world will have many more beautiful roads for the next generation to travel. B'hatzlacha b'derech, good luck, and much success on the way. It's now my pleasure to introduce Dan Sinekin, President of the MJDS Board of Directors.
Welcome, everyone. I was told for tonight I was supposed to be brief. Not a word in my vocabulary, but I'm going to try. I want to welcome all of you to my favorite night of the year. This is the evening where the culmination of the life cycle of our school is celebrated, where we get to say goodbye to 24 bright, talented, confident, energetic young adults, wishing them well as they move on to high school. I'm happy to report that we have an estimated 40 new students coming in next year, so the life cycle continues. The school is very fiscally sound, and the next big challenge will be to add to our $4.5 million endowment, and that's the big goal of the school over the next 2 years. We have been led by a visionary head of school, one that I'm very proud of, and a group of teachers whose dedication, support, and love is seen every single day. The board of directors is a proud group of men and women who work tirelessly, and I want to thank them for all of their help and all their support. I want all of you to enjoy this evening, friends and family of these graduates, and most of all, the 24 individuals sitting behind me. Remember everything tonight. Enjoy it. Mazel tov.
These 24 eighth graders are graduating and leaving MJDS. We also have a number of families who no longer will have children enrolled at MJDS, and therefore they too are graduating. Would these parents please stand and remain standing so we can recognize them? Margaret Luck, Paul Baldino, Susanna Byrne and David Barash, Judy and David Corin, Carrie and Scott Ellerbrock, Betty Hartzman and Steve Hartzman, Susie and Bob Honigberg, Ann Copeland and Jeff Green, Judy and Paul Levine, Gail Hoffman and Rick Meyer, Jackie and Philip Redlick, Maureen Commissar and Alan Schatz, Melinda Swartz and Jeff Schwartz, Edwina Silverstein and Sam Silverstein, Amy and Brett Stone, Diane and Randy Strauss. One of my favorite things to do at any event that the Milwaukee Jewish Day School does is to recognize our alumni in a crowd. If there are any alumni, and I know a lot of you are here tonight, would you please stand and be recognized? What that is proof of you never get to leave the day school, ever. It's now my privilege to introduce our graduates. Since the class is speaking in 4 sections, please hold your applause until the last group is finished and all the students have spoken. Here are our thoughts from our students.
I came to MJDS in first grade when I was only 6 years old. Every time my friends and I played outside or walked in the halls, we saw the big kids and shouted, "Big kid alert, big kid alert." We would run and hide because the big kids were scary and intimidating to us. They all looked so big and grown up. Even the third graders seemed big to us. It wasn't until 5th grade that I began to think that middle school students were not so big after all. On the first day of 8th grade, it hit me. We had become the big kids. The burden was now on us to be role models, and all of the younger children were either intimidated by us or looked up to us. Being the oldest in the school is, in some ways, like being the oldest child in the family. The oldest child is the first to earn privileges, such as a later bedtime and traveling to Israel. But those privileges carry great responsibility. I really look forward to being an 8th grader, and suddenly, it's over. So my advice to younger students who looked up to us in the class of 2012 is to enjoy every minute and take time to appreciate your experience at MJDS. As you grow older, you will be the ones to take on more responsibilities like writing graduation speeches.
10 weeks from now, I will be at Homestead High School, and life will be very different from what I am used to. On the plus side, lots of different classes and interesting activities, and Homestead is 2 minutes from my house. My brother will be a senior, so he'll drive me to school instead of my mother. On the scary side, adjusting to big classes, hundreds of students in my grade, a very large and expansive building where I probably will get lost every day for the first several weeks. I will have trimesters instead of quarters, an earlier start time, a longer school day, and a schedule that may be more difficult to follow. I just hope that I will be in the right class at the right time. It seems like my list of negatives outweighs the positives, but even with all these challenges, I'm not nervous. I'm sure I will be able to make new friends, and I think I'm ready for the classes at Homestead because MJDS has taught me so much. When I really think about it, I know that MJDS gave me the knowledge and tools to succeed socially and academically wherever I go. The MJDS curriculum has prepared me for high school and for life. Yes, I will be ready for high school 10 weeks from now.
Everyone in my family has made an impact on my life, and my family members' talents and abilities are all blended in me. It's like making a salad. You need lettuce, carrots, cucumber, salad dressing, croutons, and more to make a delicious, tasty salad. Without the special ingredients I received from my family, I wouldn't be who I am today. One of my family members in particular has taught me an important lesson. My grandpa has always taught me that when I set a goal for myself, I have to do everything I can to achieve it. My grandpa grew up in Milwaukee, but he did not have a childhood like mine. He did not grow up with electronics. He grew up kicking rocks and empty cans through alleys for entertainment. He set a goal to start his own business, and through hard work, he achieved it. My grandparents own Hoffman's Cleaners, and they have worked hard at that business for years. They still spend a huge amount of time in their home office. I set a goal to graduate from middle school, and here I am. I survived K4 through 8th grade. Walking through the star door for the last time yesterday, I felt really proud of myself. Tomorrow, I will start working toward new goals. Thank you, Grandpa.
I want to be an astronaut. Wait, no, I want to be a doctor, or maybe even an actress. When I was 7 years old, I used to always say these things and wonder what I would make of myself. Haven't we all thought about what we want to accomplish in life? Now that we are graduating and moving on to high school, I think it's in our best interest to start thinking about our future careers. We need to stop thinking about growing up to be a princess or a pilot and decide what we really truly want to accomplish when we are older. Before coming to MJDS, I did well in math and science, but I did not really enjoy or see a use for either one. My eighth grade teachers here have helped me discover my undying passion for both subjects, and I have set my mind on becoming an engineer. Now, I believe that I can succeed in engineering, and I will use high school as a chance to excel in my passion. When I move on to college, my dream will continue to grow and come true. Thank you, MJDS, for helping me find who I am and what I want to be.
Judaism is a religion with many challenges, such as observing the holidays. Passover, Yom Kippur, and Rosh Hashanah all have complicated requirements. Keeping kosher is also a challenge. Restaurants in Milwaukee are not kosher, so some people cannot eat out with their friends. Remembering to support Israel is another challenge. Jews need to make an effort to support Israel through events like the Walk for Israel, Yom HaZikaron, and Yom HaAtzmaut. Different levels of Judaism address each of these challenges to different degrees. One of the important things I learned about MJDS is inclusion. This means helping students learn to respect and appreciate other people's beliefs and customs. The student body at school reflects all levels of Jewish observance. Some families are Orthodox, while others do not belong to a synagogue. Every student at MJDS has to respect every other student's customs and beliefs. Also, students are taught to be proud of the heritage and practice of Judaism. I am proud to have attended a school that teaches respect for Judaism and respect for how each student meets the challenges of being Jewish.
Throughout my middle school years at MJDS, I was late for school about 99% of the time. My teachers and peers probably wonder why I was always late. Each year, there was a different reason. In 6th grade, well, I don't even remember, but I'm sure there was a good excuse. In 7th grade, I tried hard to leave the house at a reasonable time, but breakfast seemed to take longer than expected. As an 8th grader, I went to bed and woke up at reasonable times, and I ate more quickly, but I still arrived late. Every day, I had to open the door to my Jewish studies class and walk to the back of the room with all eyes on me. There should be no excuse for tardiness, so why was I late? Applying all the skills that I have acquired from my years at MJDS, I believe I have finally come up with the reason. I am late every day because the MJDS clocks are all wrong. They're all set 10 minutes early. I now understand that MJDS actually starts at 7:50 and not 8 o'clock like everyone thinks. So of course, it's not my fault that I'm late, it's the school's clocks. Next year, I hope that the clocks at Sherwood High School will be set correctly, so I won't have to be late anymore.
MJDS has been like a home to me for the past 10 years of my life. In many ways, my classmates are like my siblings, and the teachers have been like parents. I know my way around MJDS like no other place in the world, so leaving will be very difficult. For many of us, 8th grade graduation feels like leaving for college. Not only are we moving up, but we are moving out. I've been through so much with my siblings, or my friends. We have shared happy events in each other's lives, like bar mitzvahs, family weddings, and birthdays, and just hanging out. We've also been through sad times together, like funerals and illnesses. Over the years, the class of 2012 has lost some friends and gained new friends. Those of us who are graduating today all feel incredibly close to each other. Even though we soon will be going our separate ways, I hope we can stay connected as one happy family. Therefore, I volunteer my house for a huge high school graduation party in 4 years. Lahitraot l'kol ha'chaverim sheli. Goodbye to all of my friends.
As many of you know, I transferred to Milwaukee Jewish Day School this year in 8th grade. It was the biggest change of my life. Socially, everything was completely different. I went from a class of more than 100 students, some of whom I had never even spoken to a class of 24, all of whom I know personally. Academically, this change was essential to prepare me for high school. Much more is expected of the students at MJDS, and everyone is smart. The bar is set high, and I couldn't slack off. Culturally, this change was very comforting. At my public school, less than 10% of my grade were Jewish, and most of the students were ignorant of the Jewish culture. Being Jewish at my former school made me feel different. Being Jewish at MJDS just feels natural.
As we go on, we remember all the times we had together, and as our lives change from whatever, we will still be friends forever. This quote from a song by the band Vitamin C sums up my feelings about my friendships I've made at MJDS over the past 6 years. These are friendships that I want to keep forever. No matter how far away we are from each other, we will still all be friends. Next year, we will be attending different high schools, and we will not be seeing the same 24 people every day. I look forward to making new friends at Homestead, but it will be impossible for me to forget my friends at MJDS. I look forward to seeing all my classmates at MJDS for the Alumni Shabbat Sings and when we return for the time capsule openings as seniors.
Family is probably the most important thing in the world to me. After all, family members are the people who celebrate good times with us and who pick us up when we are down. The most important person in my family is my mother. She does everything she possibly can for me, like giving me this great education, and I love her so much. I'm really proud that she graduated from UWM. The men in my family are important to me too. After all, they're the only people I can talk to about sports. My brother is a great lawyer, and he's the smartest person I know. I look up to him as a role model. Although he lives far away, we talk on the phone a lot. My father is the other important person in my life. I'm grateful to him for working hard to re-enter my life and for giving me a relationship with my grandma and my cat. My friends are the newest addition to my family. We have grown much closer, and I now consider them a major part of my family. All of these members of my family have played an important role in my life, and I never want to let any of them go. As Desmond said in Lost, Achi nipgesh b'chaim acherim. I'll see you in another life, brother.
I have attended MJDS for 9 years, which is 64% of my life. 9 years might sound like a long time, but it goes by faster than you might think. I would like to share some advice with younger students about how to get the most out of MJDS. When starting out each new grade, promise yourself to make this the best year yet. Don't let anything stop you from doing your best. Create amazing times with your friends because your memories of time together at MJDS will last a lifetime. Do not start rumors or drama. Being Jewish, we have a responsibility to be kind and respectful. We should not hurt others. Appreciate Tefillah because this is your chance to have a daily service with your community. I admit that I did not really appreciate this quiet time in our day, but now that we are leaving, it seems like it was really important. Most importantly, I urge you to find something to be happy about each and every day. 9 years will fly by before you know it. Learn as much as you can, give your best effort to everything you do, and enjoy every day you spend at MJDS.
I have always felt it is my mission to bring joy to people's lives. The manner in which I do it, though, can sometimes be questioned. Usually, my friends love my joking around. I always seem to know just the right thing to say to make my parents or my friends smile. They quite obviously enjoy my sense of humor. But my timing at school wasn't always very good. To be honest, it probably was not good at all. Sometimes I joked around in the middle of a serious moment. Not a good idea. Sometimes I even got a bit out of hand. Really not a good idea. I honestly never intended to upset my teachers. I just enjoy a good time, and I can't help wanting to bring humor into the classroom. After all, we study some pretty tough stuff at MJDS, such as quadratic equations, dependent clauses, and scientific notation. This material needs some lightening. אני רוצה להודות לכל המורים שלי על הסבלנות שלהם. אני מכבד מאוד כל אחד ממורה, ואני מרגיש קשר מיוחד עם כל אחד מהם. Honestly, I thank all of my teachers for their patience with me. I have great respect for every one of my teachers, and I feel a special bond with each of them.
I do not understand why we guys always have to hear the long talks about the dress code. Tank tops, short shorts, leggings. I'm not sure I even know what those are. The boys are never the ones who violate the dress code. At MJDS, is there even a dress code for guys? Let's just say there's an unofficial dress code. We have our blue and gray MJDS PE uniforms. The rest of the time, we boys wear anything having to do with the Packers or the Brewers, depending on the season. But we never wear anything with any Chicago sports team on it. We wore hoodies with shorts, and before we went to Israel, we started to wear our sandals. Because we cannot wear shirts that show our bellies, we wear jeans that sag just a little bit to look cool. Sometimes we are required to wear a kippah. I admit that we sometimes try to sneak by without one. Sometimes we have to leave class to go find one, and that may take a few minutes. Sometimes we try to substitute baseball caps or hoods for kippot, but that usually doesn't go over too well. Next year, the dress code in most of our high schools will be a little more flexible. But regardless of the dress code, I will still proudly wear my MJDS 2012 t-shirt.
I remember my first time in the science lab. I saw science speakers, a skeleton, a smartboard, a handful of people's names on the ceiling. For the longest time, I couldn't understand why those names were on the ceiling. Finally, I learned that the names are written next to the splatters of experiments. From that day on, I vowed to get my name on the ceiling. So, we did an experiment with Alka-Seltzer tablets and lemon juice in a film canister. The teacher's goal was to teach us about the pressure threshold, but my goal was to get my name on the ceiling in a unique way. My lab partner and I added 8 drops of green food coloring to the mix and put the lid on and waited. Suddenly, the whole class heard a huge pop, and when we looked up, there was a huge green spot in the science lab ceiling. That was one way I literally left my mark. In addition to having my name on the science lab ceiling, I want to be remembered in other ways. I truly hope I am leaving my mark on MJDS, whether from making a color spot on the science lab ceiling or just from being an amazingly awesome student. Ani etga'agea me'od lekol morei v'kol havarai b'MJDS. I will miss all my teachers and friends at MJDS.
Hiya kilu tamud mahar. Lamad kilu tehiyah lanetzah. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. This was once said by Mahatma Gandhi. I believe the first part of the quote, live as if you were to die tomorrow, means that we must never let an opportunity pass us by. Carpe diem, seize the day. We should be open to new ideas and challenges. I believe that the second part of the quote, learn as if you were to live forever, means we should be learning every day of our lives. MJDS teaches its students to do both. I am a person who loves to learn, not because I need a good grade or am bugged by my parents, but for the sake of learning. As I leave MJDS to begin my studies at University School of Milwaukee, I plan to go above and beyond so that I can learn new and exciting information. I understand that when I leave MJDS, I will need to take the initiative to continue my Jewish studies. I will continue learning my whole life, and MJDS started me on this path.
I love playing the drums at Shabbat Sing, being a leader with my beat and my soul. I create a spirit with my drum and my hands, and I bring the crowd to life. Chicken soup and matzo balls, ding-a-ling, toot-toot. I love playing the drums at Shabbat Sing. This is how I share my love of music. This is how I share my love of Judaism. This is how I create Ruach. Wherever you go, there's always someone Jewish. I love playing the drums at Shabbat Sing. I see the children's smiling faces. I see love and care around me. I love sharing my passion and the drum beat. Lechi lach, on a journey I will send you. Lechi lach, to a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. I love playing the drums at Shabbat Sing. I feel sad to graduate, but it's time to move on. I will miss singing Jewish songs, but I will always miss MJDS. May we be blessed as we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Amen.
As many of you know, my family and I returned to Israel when I was just finishing 6th grade. We have lived in Milwaukee for 10 years, and I have attended MJDS since junior kindergarten. Those were great years for me. I had my friends, my classes were comfortable, and everything just fell into place. Then, my parents announced to me that we were moving back to Israel. I had mixed feelings because I was returning to a place I missed and was leaving a place I loved. Moving to the holy city of Jerusalem brought me closer to my Jewish identity. For example, we went to the Kotel, the holiest place for Jews, numerous times on Friday nights to welcome in the Shabbat. The atmosphere is indescribable and unique. I was ecstatic to hear my friends from Milwaukee would be traveling in Israel because I wanted them to feel for themselves the pride of being a Jew in Israel. I lived in 2 countries over the past 3 years, and I had the honor of calling each country home. For this, I am very grateful. My moves to and from Israel reminded me of a quote. "Aseh chavarim chadashim, ach shmor al hashanim, hayeshanim. Harishonim hem kesef, v'achonim zahav." Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other is gold. Now I really understand what this means.
Heroes are as necessary to a child's growth as vitamins, wrote Joyce Alston. I'm lucky because Lewis Copeland is my grandfather and my hero. The Holocaust was the most devastating event in Jewish history. I feel fortunate that my grandfather survived this horrible time. When the Nazis invaded Hungary in 1941, he was forced to march across Europe under the harshest conditions. He was separated from his family, saw dead bodies, suffered from hunger and exposure, and marched miles and miles to his probable death. After the war, he eventually found his sister and brother, but the rest of his family had perished. Despite all of this, Lewis did not give up on life. He picked himself up, moved to Wisconsin, became a pharmacist, married, and had 3 children, one of whom is my mother. If my grandfather had not survived the Holocaust, I wouldn't be here today. My grandfather has taught me that no matter how terrible a situation may be, I must have the courage and strength to keep trying and never ever give up. My amazing grandfather is my hero because he never ever gave up on life.
My 8 years at MJDS have been indescribable, partly because of the incredible friendships I have made with each of my 23 classmates. In fact, the girls in our grade have become so close, we are often referred to as a covalent bond. In science, atoms donate and receive electrons to complete each other's valence shells. When the valence shell is complete, it is referred to as happy. We, electrons, have a chemical bond that is difficult for others to understand. The girls in our grade always care for each other and will give up as many electrons as necessary to make each other happy. We have all been through so much together, which makes our bond even stronger. Where has time gone? I remember our first trip to the family farm in first grade, and now we have just returned from our 8th grade trip to Israel. It seems like just yesterday we were living in a refrigerator box, and now my time at MJDS is up. The experiences I have had, the friendships I have made, and the lessons I have learned at MJDS will stay with me forever. Right now, I am not quite happy leaving MJDS behind. It's a good thing I have 23 electrons available to fill my shell.
As most of you know, I came to MJDS for 8th grade. Although my time at MJDS has been short, I learned a lot from my teachers and peers. In all of my classes, I have studied topics I would not have studied elsewhere. I learned Hebrew, read Shakespeare, even made a model of the Himalayas. I wrote my autobiography and studied the Holocaust in depth. I have also had experiences I would not have had at any other school. I biked to Rainbow Day Camp, celebrated the Jewish holidays, and participated in ceremonies for Israel. I met and befriended people from Israel like our Shinshiniot, people I never would have known as well before. And of course, I went on a fantastic trip to Israel, where I experienced a whole new culture and the society I had studied about all year. Because of these classes, experiences, and teachers, I feel prepared to move on to Nicolay High School. I have learned so much in this short year that I will never forget. I want to thank all of my classmates for making me feel welcome and comfortable in this school. And I also want to thank the teachers who have inspired me to continue learning throughout my life.
לפעמים אני ביחד, לפעמים אני לבד. לפעמים אני באמצע, לפעמים אני בצד. אבל אני תמיד נשאר אני. Sometimes I'm with others, sometimes I'm alone. Sometimes I'm in the middle, sometimes I'm on the side. But I will always be myself. This is the song of Uzi Heitman. I know what the right path is for me. I'm not afraid to do what is in my heart. Because MJDS is such an amazing school, I have learned many things. One of the most important of these is that standing apart from the crowd is not a bad thing. In fact, following your heart is usually the right thing to do. I choose to observe Shabbat, which sometimes set me apart from my classmates and made it difficult for me to participate in weekend events with them. However, I always knew that what I was doing was right for me, so I never felt pressure to change. במקום שאין אנשים תשתדל להיות איש. In a place where there are no righteous people, you must strive to be a righteous person. All of us have learned this important quote from Pirkei Avot. My years at MJDS have taught me to think for myself. I am grateful to my teachers, my friends, and my family for teaching me that all of us are obligated to do what is right and stand up for our beliefs.
I only learned about computers so I could pick up the chicks. All true babes love guys who know the Hacker's Manifesto by heart and can translate ASCII to binary. It all started when I wondered what was inside a computer. I opened it up and started taking it apart, and within minutes, I had memorized how to disassemble and reassemble the computer. It all just grew from there. Whenever I was curious about how something worked, I researched it, learned it, and stored it in the file cabinet of my brain. I plan on studying computer science and computer product design in college. The hard part about computer product design is that designers have to balance looks with functionality. I think schools should go further with their IT classes and teach more about the computer. People should not have to call tech support just to be told their computer is not plugged in. Sometimes the solution to a big problem is simple. Most people don't harness the true power of a computer, even though it's relatively easy to do. I may not be Bill Gates, but I hope to have as big as an impact on computers and people's lives as he did. And maybe, along the way, I'll pick up a chick or two.
I remember every morning of kindergarten walking into the classroom and seeing the teachers' smiling faces, and that would put a smile on mine. In elementary school, I would enter the classroom and immediately smile, because I would see all my friends. In 8th grade, I arrived at school most mornings feeling a little tired and crabby. Then my good friend would walk down the hallway and I would smile because she always brightens up my day. If I took all the smiles that I've received and given over our years at MJDS, I would have miles of smiles. When I saw a smile at MJDS, I knew that I was in a caring environment. The smiles created warmth in my heart and made me feel that I belonged. I feel the same sense of community now at camp and BBYO because it is so much fun and all my friends are there. I know that when I move to high school, I will eventually find warm and friendly smiles that will make me feel welcome They will mostly be people from MJDS, camp, and BBYO, you know, the Jews. In high school, in all the strangest faces I see, I will be looking for the smile of friendship and welcome that I first saw at MJDS.
When I was really, really young, I literally looked up to the 8th graders because they were so tall. And I couldn't imagine being that old. Well, now I'm that old. During my journey to becoming an 8th grader, I've learned some important lessons. First, become friends with the person at the front desk, because they can be really helpful. Whenever I was late for school, lost my kippa, or just wanted to waste some time, I could always depend on Gvert Stingy for help. Another lesson is to make many friends. And be nice to everyone you meet. At some point, all of us will go through hard times, and we will need true friends. Also, we don't always know what's happening in other people's lives, so just be nice. One compliment can mean the world to someone who's having a bad day. My final piece of advice is, don't count the days, make the days count. It felt like just yesterday I was starting 8th grade, and here I am giving my graduation speech. Don't wait until high school or college or whatever to do something you love. Be able to look back on your younger years and know that you really lived. I've loved my years at MJDS, and my memories of my childhood there will always be with me.
Don't walk in front of me, I may not follow. Don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Just walk beside me and be my friend. Together we will walk in the way of Hashem. Goy sagoy el goy cherem. Goy naldu milchama. Goy sagoy el goy cherem. Goy naldu milchama. Don't walk in front of me, I may not follow. Don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Just walk beside me and be my friend. Together we will walk the way of Hashem.
Before leaving for Israel, before leaving for Israel, looking out over Jerusalem, standing at the Kotel and praying, on our first Shabbat in Israel,
I realized how much I missed praying with Rabbi Miguel when he led services in the park.
on Ben Yehuda Street, at Machne Yehuda, we still remember
Fresh fruit juice, aroma coffee, and iced hot chocolate.
Yad Vashem,
In memory of lost souls burned in my
at the Dead Sea,
We were covered in mud that made my skin feel soft.
the food in Israel, When we climbed Masada.
The sunrise looked like an artist had splashed the sky with 1,000 colors.
I felt so accomplished and glad I made it.
When we rode camels, we learned that.
I can't imagine people riding camels in the deserts for days and nights.
Learning the story of Israeli soldier Adi Avitan.
I understood that being an Israeli soldier was a holy job.
We saw a young cat cry.
When we met the kids from Kibbutz Ashdod Yaakov. Not if, but when I go back to Israel, I will.
Spend time with family.
Visit little coffee shop and gelato places.
Join a kibbutz.
For making our class trip possible, we thank
Our parents.
Our wonderful chaperones, Eric Leichman, Adon Gaps, and Adon Ross. Our classmates.
The amazing people of Israel.
Thank you, MJDS.
Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, everything, everyone, every place, every way. Where you walk, where you stand, where you lie, where you pray. All of life is holy ground. Every he, every she, everyone and every who. It's in her, it's in them, it's in me, it's in you. In the bitter, in the sweet, in the calm, in the storm. All of life is holy ground. Can you feel the holy ground? We take our shoes off. We're on holy ground.
It's now my honor and pleasure to present diplomas to this year's graduates. Please hold your applause until all the graduates have been recognized. Jonathan E. Shalom. Jacob Corin. Alexis Hoffman. You guys are not good students. Zachary Meyer. Leah Copeland Green. Jordan Ellerbrock. Robert Hermanoff. Kayla Wasserman. Duran Redlick. Eliana Wasserman. Anna Gurton. Noah Schatz. Chandler Strauss. Brianna Levine. Gabriella Marcus. Hannah Silverstein. Shoshana Altman Schaefer. Maya Schwartz. Jesse Honigberg. David Stone. Danielle Tzvi. Rafael Barash. Joshua Hartzman. Elias Baldino. And I'll present to you the class of 2012 5772.
Although we are here this evening to celebrate the accomplishments of these wonderful graduates, most of whom have been in our school for 10 years, from junior kindergarten through 8th grade, it has been our tradition to acknowledge staff members who have been part of our day school family for 10 years, 18 years, and 25 years. Tonight we are honoring 3 staff members for 10 years of service to Milwaukee Jewish Day School. It is my privilege to present a token of our appreciation to these dedicated educators. Please come forward when I call your name. Sippy Altman Schaefer. Deborah Borkin. And last but not least, Christy Horn, our business administrator.
Next, we are honoring 3 key staff members for 18 years of service. As many of you know, the number 18 is of particular significance in Judaism. It is the numerical equivalent of chai, of life, and these 3 staff members represent a significant part of the life of our school. To begin, I have the privilege of honoring my partner, Ann Gleichman. Giveret Gleichman has been at MJDS in the capacity of a first grade teacher, a third grade teacher, a principal, and any number of things in between. It is fun to work with her on a daily basis to do this important work, and she has this special way of bringing some levity to the job and making sure that we all have a good time, because we really do all need to have a good time at this important work. So thank you, Ann. Next, and I didn't get an email to see if he was able to join us tonight, but for 18 years of service, Lenny Cass. Lenny, did you make it? So we will have to honor Lenny in absentia. He told me before the event that he's right into the run-up of Rainbow Day Camp and getting that up and running, and this is a very, very challenging time for him to break away. Adon Cass anchors our kindergarten through 2nd grade physical education program. We are very fortunate to have him. He has energy. He finds energy in places that I can't imagine, and if anybody's ever received an email from Lenny or spoken to Lenny, you know how it ends. Keep smiling. So in his honor, we'll just say keep smiling. And finally, for her 18th and unfortunately last year of service, Marilyn Ruby, please come on up here. From her beginnings at MJDS as a parent back in the early days, to her time as Doris Schneidman's assistant, to her time as an 8th grade literature teacher, to being part of the glue that keeps our school together, running efficiently, Marilyn will be nearly impossible to replace, but we understand that Minneapolis calls, and we wish you nothing but the best, all the mazal in this next chapter for you, and you better come back and see us.
What's that? I bought my head trying to get paper so I could see. You can do it. Okay. Adon King, it's traditional for graduating 8th graders to present a class gift to MJDS. Money has been raised through a purchase of mausolgrams by family and friends. This year's class is pleased to present new televisions and DVD players in appreciation of the wonderful education we have received during our years at MJDS.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's a wonderful gift. Thank you very much. I need to do a few more thank yous before we move on. First to Rabbi Herber and Chazan Stein and Congregation Beth Israel for hosting us this evening in this beautiful sanctuary on this important occasion. Thank you. I'd like to thank our wonderful choir. possibly the most energetic choir that we've had. And their fearless leaders, Gaveret Lambert, Gaveret Cohen, Elna Hickson, and Adon Weisgerber, for all their work. We have a few more pieces to the ceremony before we end, but when we do end, please allow the graduates to exit the ceremony first. And for the families here, please see Gaveret Ruby at the reception to pick up your folders containing the actual diploma. No, those weren't the actual diplomas. We didn't want to roll them up. The Mazelgrams, the Israel bonds, and such. And a reception will follow, and it's catered by the Beth Israel Sisterhood, and we thank them for that. Adon Katz.
For those of you who know me, seeing me cry is usually not that big a feat. It's already happened a couple times tonight. As Brian said before, I'm addressing them and not you. And for those of you who know me, I'm also addressing in one small way my own daughter, who's graduating as well. Hard to believe it was only 4 years ago when she was here, and for those of you who are seeing your kids here now, it'll be 4 seconds, and they'll be graduating high school, college, and beyond. I want to thank you, 8th graders. I want to thank you for an amazing, great bike trip, for an interesting and fun Israel classes, for our Jewish Lent sessions, and for truly an amazing trip to Israel. Keep sharing your journal entries and keep reminding each other of our trip through pictures and stories. Remember the tastes, sights, sounds, feel, and smells of Israel. Keep them near and close to your hearts. We started each of our Israel classes listening to Israeli music. I shared some of my favorites and hope you enjoyed hearing these songs. One of them, probably my all-time favorite, is a song by Arik Einstein called Uf Gozal, or Fly My Nestling. Here are the words to that song. My nestlings have left the nest, they've spread their wings and flown away, and I, an old bird, remained in the nest, really hoping that everything would be all right. I always knew the day would come when we'd have to part, but now it came to me so suddenly. So what's the wonder that I'm a bit concerned? I know that it's just nature. I also left the nest. But now when the moment comes, I get choked up. I get choked up. You are our little birds. Your time to fly from our nest has come. We, your teachers and families, are confident that we have given you strong wings to fly with. So fly, little birds. Be cautious, be smart, stay alert, and be safe. Fly, little birds, and know that our nest will always be here for you to visit. Yes, please all stand. Yisimchem Elohim, Kefraim, Kimenashe, Kesara Rivka Rachel Leah. Yivarechem Adonai v'shmerechem. Yer Adonai panav alechem v'yichunechem. Yisa Adonai panav alechem yasem lechem shalom. May God bless you and protect you. May God shine his countenance upon you and be gracious to you. May God lift his countenance towards you and place peace on you and all of Israel. Let us say, Amen. I'd like to please call Chazan Jeremy Stein.
Please join me as we mark this special milestone with the singing of Shehechianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu l'zman hazeh.
Please rise. We ask you, Ribono Shel Olam, Master of the Universe, as you have graced this gathering of students, teachers, administrators, families, and friends, to continue to bless us with the strength and integrity to imagine lives satiated with Torah and Jewish living. Grant us the courage to dream in a world in which we celebrate our unique blessings and celebrate our triumphs, one which is sustained by the power of Torah and community. We ask for your continued blessings of love, companionship, and healing. And of course, we ask that you continue to bless these new graduates as they emerge into a world in need of much thoughtfulness, righteousness, justice, and peace. And let us all say, Amen. Please remain standing for Hatikvah.
Thank you, everybody. Please enjoy the reception.